It is 7:30. I am going to call the meeting to order. This meeting of the Denville Township Board of Education is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. Notice of this meeting was provided to the Daily Record and/or the Star Ledger of Morris County, has been delivered to the Township Clerk, and has been posted on the bulletin board of the Board of Education office and at each of the buildings in the district. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kim?
Present.
Mr. Cass?
Here.
Mr. Capello?
Here.
Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Luer?
Here.
Mrs. Gould?
Here.
Mrs. Wagner?
Here. If everybody viewing can see Dr. Forte, there is a flag behind him, so we're going to go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it
stands
one nation,
under
God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have no need for an executive session and no special presentation. So that brings us to Superintendent's Comments. Dr. Forte?
Thank you. Well, this is great that we're able to do this online like this to, get through this definitely unprecedented time in our country's history. I am in town hall, just in case somebody does show up, but we are doing this online only. I would like to let the board know that at all board meetings, I'd like to pass all resolutions rather than waiting for the next meeting, just in case, given all the different things that are going on with the coronavirus. I think it's the way to go for us for a little while. I just want to let everybody know we donated not all of them, but we donated a good supply of gloves and masks today to St. Clair's Hospital. Our head nurse, Jessica Seidel, rounded them up throughout the district. Made sure we had enough for our people too, and then donated to St. Clair's. They were putting out a desperate plea for supplies to the community. These were things that we weren't using currently, and we were able to hand them over. So just a little bit of an update on the district calendar. We did use one snow day, which would be that last day in June, the 22nd, which is Monday. And for spring break right now, the plan would be to go as is with the spring break way it's currently set. We don't know when the governor is going to reopen the schools or if or when he will. Right now, the governor's declaration is that schools are closed until further notice. So the government, it's not in my purview or any of our purview to reopen until the governor says that we can reopen. And then at that point, we could decide when we're ready to reopen. So, I mean, I don't know if this is going to happen, but the way I thought about it was this self-quarantining thing that we're in the middle of right now is supposed to go into April 7th, which would give us 2 days before spring break. So just to use common sense and maybe play it out, the earliest I would think we'd be back would be something like April 20th. That would be after spring break. Again, this is all, who knows if the schools are going to be closed or reopened again this school year. I know another state closed them for the rest of the year today. But these are all things that we're just basically guessing on right now. So the way it would go right now is we would still stick with our spring break, and we would come back after spring break if possible. If not, the online program will have to continue. And that's my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Forte. Dr. Cullis, Assistant Superintendent's Comments. We might be having some technical difficulties. Dr. Cullis, are you with us?
We should probably unmute her.
She's the only one that can unmute herself.
Let's go to Damaris then.
Okay. We're just going to skip over to Business Administrator's Comments.
Just a minor comment, the drivers are doing a phenomenal job delivering the lunches. They're getting up there every morning, rain or shine, and delivering those lunches. There has been a few parents who last week did not pick up lunches and they were being piled. So we're going to reevaluate those specific situations this week to see how it goes. And I'll contact them if we see that they're not being picked up. But as of right now, it's going well, and kudos to the drivers. They're doing great. That's all. That's it for me.
Thank you, Damaris, and thank you to the drivers. And for anybody in the public, the meals that Damaris was referring to is the free or reduced meals that are still being provided to the students of the district. Okay, so at this time, we're going to open the meeting to public comments. There will be a second public comments section at the end of the meeting, as there usually is. So for right now, this public comment is open for agenda items only. So if you could unmute yourself, state your name and address for the record, and go ahead and let us know what questions you might have that are related to the agenda. So it seems as though there are no public comments right now. Oh, is that a comment? Okay, so we're going to close public comments now, and I no longer have the time on my screen. Damaris, will you help me out with that?
7:37.
So it's 7:37. We are closed for public comment, and I'm going to ask the board if there are no objections that we move the agenda as a block this evening.
I move the agenda as a block.
I'll second.
So thank you, Mr. Lohr, for moving, and Mr. Cass for second. Do we do all those in favor?
I have a no on finance number 1 on the milk fund. Yes on everything else.
Should we just do a roll call, Damaris?
Yes, we'll roll call.
Okay, sorry.
Mr. Kim?
Yes.
Mr. Cass? No on number 1 on finance?
Yeah, no on number 1, the milk fund. Yes on everything else.
Mr. Capello?
Yes on all items.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes on all items.
Mr. Lohr?
Yes.
Mrs. Gould?
Yes, except for abstaining from items, old business, items C 1 and 2.
Mrs. Wagner?
Yes on all items. So that would bring us to good of the cause, or any discussion items that the board wants to bring up.
So
I would like to compliment.
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead, Dina.
Okay. Just real quickly, I had a conversation with Steve today, Laura, about the COVID-19 page on the website, and just making sure that we have a process in place to make sure that information's updated without taking too much of his time away. So he advised me that there is a process. He has some of the tech team that's going to be keeping that page up, which I think we all probably envision is going to become a bigger job as time drags on. So it sounds like that's pretty well in hand. Steve, is that a kind of a fair summary of our conversation? Steve, you with me?
Okay, we had a little bit of a technical glitch here. So we're going to go back. Sandy, can you speak now or no?
I think so. I apologize. It was indicating that if too many people are unmuted at the same time, that somebody else can't unmute.
All right, so let's
I
stop
was
here for a
unmuted.
minute. Let's stop here for a minute. Let's go back to the first public session again. just in case people weren't able to unmute. And in the top right, you'll see a chat button. If you have a comment or question, this is actually up to you, Mrs. Wagner. If you want to reopen the public comment section, I'm just being cautious that people may have had a comment and weren't able to type it in. So what we could do is go back, if this is okay with you, open it up again for that section and just have people type their question in the comment box, their name, address, and the question.
Mr. Forte, this is Cindy Costanza. I just recommend that if you're not speaking, if you mute yourself, then we won't have too many people unmuted as well for everybody that's in the group. If you could please mute yourself if you're not speaking, then we should be fine.
Okay, so with Mr. Forte's suggestion, we are going to go ahead and open up again for public comment. If you cannot unmute, or if you prefer, please type your question in the chat box. The chat box is in the upper right-hand corner, and feel free to type your message, and please just enter your name and address for the record. Okay, it doesn't seem, I don't see any comments coming up or chats. Do any of the other board members see anything?
Nope, nothing here.
Do we need to give them time to type out anything? And
I just saw one come in. Sorry to step on you, Jane.
No, that's Mrs. Costanza helping us out. I believe, is that the one you see, Mr. Lure?
Yeah, so I think you can reclose this.
Okay, so we are gonna close the public comment section again at what time, Tamara?
Open at 7:41 and close at 7:42.
Okay, and then if we could go now to Dr. Cullis, if you're available for the Assistant Superintendent comments.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. So right now we're still at 175 kindergartners registered. So we have not had any new registrations since March 6th at this time. So if you're out there and you have a kindergartner planning on attending, you can still register online, and then we will give you further instructions on how to proceed after the schools reopen. We've been working very hard over the last week. I've gotten a lot of positive comments from parents and teachers about our first week of online instruction. I am receiving feedback, and I'm passing that along to principals as it's coming in. And I think that some of the feedback has been very helpful, such as adding checklists for parents. I pass that along, and I know teachers are starting to implement those suggestions as well. And they're getting more and more comfortable with the online classroom instruction. So they're trying different things besides just the paper assignments with that. This week, we will be really looking at how our grading is going to be moving forward. The quarter is coming to an end, so we will let you know exactly how that grading will proceed. Currently, our teachers are taking the assignments and providing feedback, and if it is an assessment, they are giving it a grade as they would in the classroom. The question did come up about what is going to happen if students were to fall behind. We will be doing a lot of reviewing with our teachers. So every 3 days, we introduce new concepts and then spend a few days reviewing that material before new information will be presented. Upon return, we are putting into place right now some review weeks of going back over some of that essential information that they're doing at home, just to make sure that they have those concepts going into before we go into the summer months. This concludes the Assistant Superintendent's Report, unless any of the board members have a question about those two items.
I had a question about the kindergarten registration. Is this pause in registration? This is normally what happens at this time of year, and then over the summer we get additional registrations?
This is not uncommon, no. I mean, usually the surge is the first couple of months while they first initially register, and then they come in to the schools for their face-to-face registration. So it's not uncommon, but I do think it's connected to the schools being closed because I didn't get a single registration. It's like I was getting every couple days, but I haven't gotten any since the 6th. So I think it does normally slow, but we may get a few more when school reopens.
Thank you.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Cullis. I just
Can I
want to
just
take
jump in
the
there for a second?
opportunity.
Sorry, can I just jump
Sure.
in there a little bit? One of the great things about this whole plan we had was the teachers really stepped up, and Dr. Cullis and I have been speaking and fielding a lot of comments from the public, all positive about things that people are doing to connect with kids in a definitely trying circumstance. So really, kudos to our staff from everybody, bus drivers, teachers, administrators, everybody's pulling together to get this thing working out.
I have even gotten feedback from other school districts that have commented at how well they thought ours was running.
I have received the same feedback from fellow parents, myself included. My kids are doing well with the programs that the teachers have put in place, and I have received nothing but positive comments about all the staff. So thank you to the administration for putting this together so quickly, and to all of our staff, teachers, bus drivers, everyone that is working so hard to get us through this time. I think that brings us back to board comments, discussion, good of the cause. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, so I think if the board members had a comment, they would have opened their mics up by now. So at this time, we are going to open the meeting up for our second public comment section at what time?
7:47.
Thank you, Damaris. At 7:47. So either use the chat window in the upper right corner or unmute yourself and just state your name and address for the record and go ahead with your question. Okay, I don't see any questions coming in. So we are going to close the second public comment section at
7:48.
And we do not have a need for a executive session at all. So I will take a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Capello and second by Mr. Lohr. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. This concludes our meeting at what time, Damaris?
7:48.
7:48. Thank you to everybody that joined us.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone who put the effort into setting this up.
Thanks.
All right, have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you, tech team. Thank you, tech team, for a great job.
I second that. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.